We like to think we have choices. If a brand new iPhone or a high-end laptop is too expensive, the logic is simple. Buy it used. Let someone else take the depreciation hit, buy it for 40% off, and enjoy perfectly good hardware. On paper, this market is absolutely thriving. According to global data from Coherent Market Insights, the refurbished electronics market is sitting at a massive $68 billion. But if you've actually tried to navigate the secondhand market recently, you already know the truth. The free, open-use tech market that we used to love is completely broken. What looks like a booming landscape of affordable options is actually a tightly controlled corporate ecosystem designed to force you into buying new. Today, we are breaking down the structural forces that killed the used tech market and the massive plot twist that might save it in the future. To understand how we got here, we have to look back at this exact moment the open market was assassinated. See, tech didn't used to be like this. In the 2000s and 2010s, buying early used tech was a no-brainer. You could buy an old laptop, open it up with a standard screwdriver, slam in a cheap SSD, upgrade the RAM, and suddenly you had a machine that could last another 5 years. If a battery died, you slid off the plastic back and snapped a new one in. But big tech realized that durable, repairable hardware was a massive threat to their bottom line. If you can buy a 3-year-old device and easily fix it up for $20, you aren't spending $1,000 on their new shiny flagship model. So a decade ago, the tech giants systematically declared war on the secondary market. They slowly started soldering memory directly to motherboards, removing access panels, and introduced proprietary screws that required specialized toolkits just to open. They weaponized sleek design, telling us that thinner devices require sealing everything shut with industrial glue. This wasn't just a design limitation. It was a highly calculated business pivot to strangle independent repair shops and completely kill the organic circulation of used tech.
Customer no longer has the option to come to somebody like me to replace this $12 chip for them. They have to go back to the manufacturer and pay $1,500 to replace the entire board.
As highlighted at the Slow Tech Awakening industry panels, this forced obsolescence was a direct byproduct of deliberate business choices specifically designed to shorten device lifespans. But when consumers and third-party repair shops found ways to cut through the glue anyway, big tech resorted to digital handcuffs. Enter component serialization. This is the practice of software locking an individual part, like a camera module or a display, to the specific motherboard it's shipped with. If you harvest a pristine official screen from a donor phone to fix an identical used phone, the software flags it and disables core features like Face ID or auto brightness.
Pair this phone properly because I don't have access to the software needed to pair the part. Therefore, the customer loses Face ID permanently. Apple will not attempt the repair if they see signs of water damage, and they're the only ones that can repair it.
Advocacy groups like the Repair Association have spent years fighting these software lockdowns, pushing for new right-to-repair laws to stop companies from turning legal physical property into locked bricks. According to data tracked by the UN Global E-Waste Monitor, this exact combination of limited repair options and arbitrarily shortened software life cycles is fueling a global e-waste crisis that has surged past 62 million tons. To make matters worse, features like Apple's activation lock or corporate mobile device management software routinely brick perfectly good hardware. Electronic recyclers are routinely forced to physically destroy and shred millions of high-end pristine laptops and smartphones simply because corporations or individuals liquidated their own tech without logging out of their accounts. This brings us to the experience of trying to buy a used device today. If you open up eBay or Facebook Marketplace, it feels like a total minefield of scammers, counterfeit parts, and stolen goods. There's a classic economic explanation for this called the market for lemons. When you buy a used smartphone, the seller knows everything about it, but you know nothing. You can't easily tell if the phone has liquid damage, a hazardous replacement battery, or an impending motherboard failure. Because big tech blocked access to internal diagnostic tools, buyers refuse to pay top dollar because they can't verify the quality, and this creates a vicious cycle. Because buyers will only pay low prices to hedge their risk, honest sellers with high quality used goods leave the platform entirely because they can't get a fair price. This leaves the marketplace completely saturated with actual lemons, that is, faulty devices, counterfeit items, and outright scams. And this brings us to the absolute core of the problem. The tech that we are trying to buy used right now was built during the dark ages of consumer rights. The hardware floating around the second-hand market today was designed when Big Tech's anti-repair campaign was at its absolute peak. Take the Nintendo Switch 1, for example. It's a wildly popular device on the used market right now, but trying to get one or get official, high-quality repair parts is an absolute nightmare. It was built in an era where, if your device broke, the manufacturer's official stance was suck it up to buy a new one. Because that generation of hardware was engineered by massive corporations to be entirely disposable, the current second-hand market for those devices is completely and fundamentally broken. There is a silver lining. Big Tech is losing the battle for once. Over the last few years, a massive wave of public awareness has forced the hands of governments worldwide. We are finally seeing right-to-repair laws being passed around the globe to undo the damage corporate greed inflicted. According to the legislative tracking from the Repair Association, states like California, Colorado, New York, and Oregon have passed landmark bills that completely changed the game. Even the EU has implemented strict eco-design mandates. Companies are now being legally forced to undo their anti-repair infrastructure. They now have to make their devices modular, provide official repair manuals to the public, and sell genuine replacement parts at reasonable prices. The phones, laptops, and handheld devices being manufactured right now are being built to be fixed. What does that look like for you? You'll be able to buy a used device, easily swap out the battery with an official part, and keep it running for years. The used tech market is currently paying the price for a decade of corporate anti-consumer design. Buying a 10-year-old console or a 5-year-old phone right now is a painful gamble because Big Tech engineered them to fail. But because of the hard-fought wins of the right-to-repair movement, the generation of tech being built today will form the healthy foundations of a sustainable and genuinely affordable used market tomorrow.